So we mentioned this on the channel a few times. What we really need to do is build a shed right there. So, no, that didn't work. Hold on. See? That. All right. Yeah, that worked. Sheesh. I gotta get this thing looked at. Forgive the background noise. I realized I had to record a couple of little quick spots for this video to kind of explain what just happened. To move forward on a couple more projects that we have that we really want to get started on, there was one big project we really needed to get done, and that was building a shed. Originally, I was thinking about just framing it out of wood and building it out of wood, but genius that I am, I found a sale on Amazon for a metal shed kit. So I figured, what the hey, I'll try that. One of the things that we really needed for this shed is it needed to be resistant to wind. You may not be aware of this, but out here where the homestead is, we are subject to some pretty high winds at times. Yes, that was a nuclear bomb joke because we're right next to White Sands and the Trinity site's like right over there. However, yes, there are fairly strong winds out here from time to time. I've seen them, I've experienced them already. And the one problem with a metal shed usually is that you need to make sure it's anchored. So we did. To start with, we have to take down a bunch of this. I've heard the locals call this honey mesquite. All I know is it's a treacherous bush full of cactus spine spikes.
Can you go get the pitchfork? It really makes this easy.
Okay. Here we go. Right there's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm about to get a workout this weekend. I've built fences before, and I've done some minor construction before, but I'm not really a carpenter, and it's been a long time since I built fences. I decided to do the wooden pad for the shed. I'm going to do things completely bass-ackwards because I have an idea that's actually going to make it easier than the normal framing you would do. Let's see if I'm right. And now I get to nail and glue. Well, after working hard on the start of the frame, I realized immediately after that I'd screwed up. These boards are supposed to be, this right here is supposed to be here on the inside. So I gotta chop another 4 inches or so off of each of the struts I was going to put in there. It doesn't mess up the actual pad design itself. I gave this enough play that it could go a foot difference in any direction and the pad's fine for the shed. But on top of all that, now it's trying to rain. So I gotta put away the power tools and cover up the wood quick before it gets wet. Fun. So let me get this straight. Oh, the air. There's a thunderstorm coming at us, but first it's creating a dust storm coming right at us. What is this nonsense? Hey, where'd the mountain go? Oh man, it is. Ugh, my mouth is crunchy.
And now he is filming the dirt.
Yes. It is a straight up brownout. We can't even see the abandoned RV in the distance anymore. Of course this happens right when I'm working on a project. Well, if it's anything like the weather I've seen out here so far, it'll be over in the next hour. And then it'll all dry up in the next 2. Brand new day, no storms. Now to fix all the mistakes I made before. Wow. 2 people. Gotta say, this frame came out pretty much exactly like I expected, and it might not make entire sense to people why I did it this way. It'll be evidenced in the rest of the video. Damn, this frame weighs like 200 pounds. I may have noted that I'm doing this completely backwards from anything I did when I was a contractor building fences. Normally, you would cement your posts first, then build onto whatever you want for the posts. It's not going to have tension on it, it just needs concrete for the footers to help keep the wind from blowing the shed away. So what we did is we placed the frame where I'm going to dig the holes. And for accuracy, I'm gonna go mark it with paint. Now, we got to move the frame again to make sure that these posts have a decent amount of catch in the cement. I'm going to put wood screws halfway through the bottom. Then,
Maybe not upside down.
no. Then we're going to hit the posts with, it doesn't have to go all the way up. We're going to hit the posts with waterproofing. Even though this area is very arid, it's best to, do what you can to keep the water from rotting the wood for as long as possible. How hard was the wind blowing in that storm video? The wind managed to snap, not just rip out, snap the wood screws that the flagpole was screwed to this post with. So I'm going to use some of the construction ones instead this time. There, that's better. Stay there. I have to dig 4 post holes. I've already done 2 before I remembered. We should probably be recording this. Having done it a lot out there and now comparing it to what's out here, the dirt on this property, the hard pack, is not quite as bad as Texas clay, which is the worst thing I've ever had to dig holes in with a shovel or post hole diggers. It's not quite as bad, but it's close. This stuff has the consistency of packed chalk. Blades don't really punch through it as much as scrape around the edge.
Gotta break that shit down.
We did find out it's a little bit easier if Amber helps me out by hitting it with the hose every little bit.
Gotta break that shit down.
Here. We were going to get this pad in and cemented tonight. Got a bit of a sunset going on, but I think we can do it. Seen a lot of videos in recent times, especially on YouTube construction channels, about wet pour versus dry pour concrete. And a lot of it has been remarkably anti-dry pour. And that's usually because they're doing it for things like a garage pad or fence posts for a high tension fence. I have been doing dry pour and wet pour my whole life, and there is a time and a place for each one. Put simply, dry pour is not as strong as wet poured concrete. Wet poured concrete can withstand a huge amount of pressure beyond what dry poured concrete can. Also, if you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say wet pour and dry pour concrete, don't worry. I'm going to show you. Because these posts are not going to be sunk real super deep, and there's going to be no tension, no torsion to the side of this structure, I realized that if we're just going to use weight to the weight of the cement to keep the structure intact and on the ground during high winds, I can do dry pour here and it's not an issue at all. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, so for a dry pour, for the first part, you want to make sure there's a couple of inches of water down in there. Not a ton. You also want to make sure that you have wetted the hole rather significantly, because during a dry pour set, a lot of the water that cures the concrete cures is going to be pulled right out of the soil, and it's going to be some of that stuff that's left at the bottom. You want to also add a couple of inches of gravel to the bottom. Okay. Now, normally, after adding the gravel, I would set the posts. But the way we did this is I dug the holes right where we know the posts will be. So now we're going to pick up the whole damn frame and drop all 4 posts at the same time. Boom. Then we're going to level it, adding gravel as we need to. And once it's leveled, then we're going to start doing the dry pour. It ain't perfect, and it ain't super pretty. And we did it right as the sun hit the end. But we managed to get it leveled, and we did a wet pour on the posts. And now we're gonna let this cure overnight and listen to the wildlife yelling at me. I have zero doubt by morning this is going to be absolutely rock solid and we can start putting in the floor. I'm going to have a beer. Oh yeah. Smoking a pork loin and Caribbean jerk rub. Pork done. Now it is time for lemon pepper chicken. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is working out. Sadly, my original plan to use sandwich ODB, sandwich whatever, didn't quite work. The floor is still a little tiny bit too flexy. So now we decided to bring in the planks. Nothing is ever coming up through this floor. Not plant, not animal, not demon. One thing that we did on this project that I've never done this hardcore before is the use of construction adhesive. We used it to make the wooden pad. We used it to make the floor. We used it to even put together the metal shed. Anywhere that we needed to put some screws, I also put some construction adhesive. Because I wanted to make sure that the things that we stuck together forever. Let's see if this here Hangouda works. 7 mark.
It just doesn't have the torque.
Oh. Stop. The blade's on backward. High power. This thing is crap. Don't buy it. So we're gonna not use flimsy Chinese-made recent imported duds. Instead, we're just gonna go with the trusty old rusty old Black & Decker, which although corded works great. I will say I'm not a handyman. I've known quite a few, and I've done some construction work in my youth. This isn't a paid advertisement. I never really understood why various handymen and construction workers I know were really big fans of certain brands, but using these Black & Deckers, I think I get it. Wait, let's repeat that for the camera. Does it not give you a sense of fulfillment that we're doing this ourselves?
In a way. Film your little woman sweeping.
So I got tired of bending over, drilling things, and gluing things. And I realized I can make a roller with a long, long handle so we don't have to bend over as we slop this paint on here. Fast forward to now, after weeks of working on this crap. We finally got the shed together, put everything together how we wanted it, and then that door overlaps with a significant amount. But overall, right now, we have a shed that we can put things in. If there's one thing I think that we learned from this ordeal, is the next time that I'm building a shed, I'm building it out of wood, not out of a prefab steel thing. You live and you learn. Anyway, be cool. We have made friends with, I don't think this is a feral cat.
Oh, baby. Or she's just doing this shit with other houses and got friendly. Oh, sweetie.
Yeah, she likes being pet, and if you give her food, she'll be she'll be your friend.
Hey. Yeah.
We do not own this cat, so for anybody watching,
I mean, for now.
she's just been stalking around the property.